Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, look, I'm excited. I am very excited right now. I get to talk about my favorite Friday the 13th film on 4K, and that is Friday the 13th Part 2. That's what we're going to be reviewing here today. So I'm going to be talking about the movie, the picture quality, special features, all that good stuff. This is going to be a little bit of a weird, kind of different review because I can't just recommend you pick this up standalone because this is actually tied to a box set. Paramount Scares Volume 2 box set, which I did a full unboxing of this box set earlier this week on the channel. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. If you're interested in this box set, check it out. It's got Orphan First Kill on 4K. It's got World War Z on 4K and Breakdown on 4K. I may do a review of Breakdown on 4K, but I don't know if I'll get to the other two, to be completely honest. But I wanted to make sure I got to Friday the 13th Part 2 on 4K because I do love this film. And I was actually a big fan of the Friday the 13th 4K that they did back in 2022. Some people weren't. We'll get into it when we talk about the picture quality, but I like that 4K, and I was kind of curious to see what they could do with the 4K restoration of Friday the 13th Part 2. But like I said, guys, this is tied to a box set in the States. You can get it standalone in the UK, but when it comes to, recommending this, it is going to be hard for me to give this a complete recommendation because it's tied to this box set, and you have to be interested in the other films in the box set, and I haven't reviewed the other films in the box set, so I can't tell you if those are worth it or not. But what I can do, guys, is just tell you, how this compares to the Blu-ray from Scream Factory and try to give you as much information as I possibly can about Friday the 13th Part 2. I'm a huge fan of this movie, guys. I am, and I'm just going to go ahead and get into my thoughts on the film. I grew up loving the Friday the 13th franchise. I remember going to the video store, starting with the first one, going all the way up until Part 8 or Jason Goes to Hell. But I rented those movies over and over again as soon as I was able to buy my own videotapes. Friday the 13th was one of the first series I tried to collect for. I do have my Friday the 13th Part 2 VHS tape right here. And this is not something that I picked up recently. This is my childhood VHS tape of Friday the 13th Part 2. But there was always just something about this movie. I love the feel and the atmosphere of those earlier Friday the 13th movies. Yes, they got bigger and flashier, and Jason got cooler in some of the later installments, but there's just something very simple and quiet and almost relaxing when you watch these older ones. And I love it. I love the first one more and more each time I watch it, but Friday the 13th Part 2 to me has always had that something a little extra special. First off, Baghead Jason, that is my preferred look of Jason. Some people would say that's crazy because they love the hockey mask is iconic, right? That's how most people know Jason is the hockey mask. But I love the baghead look on Jason. To me, it was always super scary. And the fact that you don't see Jason, it is very much like the first one where it's kind of a whodunit, it's POV up until a certain point. And then when they finally reveal Jason and the baghead and you see that eye, it's chilling. It still kind of sends a couple shivers down my spine when I watch it now. And I'm near 39 years old watching this movie, and I've been watching it since I was probably 9 or 10. But I just love this movie. I think it has some of the best kills, the wheelchair kill. You cannot deny that kill. That is one of the best kills of the entire franchise. I love the double impale through the bed. That's an awesome kill as well. There's so many great kills in this movie. And Jenny is my favorite final girl of this entire franchise, and probably a top 3 or top 4 final girl for me. I always thought it was so smart and so cool the way she just kind of tricked Jason at the end into thinking that she was his mother and put the sweater on. I was like, oh, this girl, she's actually got some smarts. She's just not, running away from Jason screaming and crying and stuff. She has figured out what she's doing, and she actually has character, and there's kind of a build to that moment. At the end, it just doesn't come out of nowhere. There's a scene where she's kind of talking at the bar just about Jason and his development and all that stuff and what he must be like now after being in the woods all these years. So there's build up to that. There's precedent to that, and I just love Jenny as a character. She's sweet. She's wholesome. She's like the girl next door. But she has a smartness and a cunningness to her, and she figured out how to beat Jason. And I think she's the best final girl of the entire series. And I love the lore of Friday the 13th. There's so much to dig into with Jason as a character. And I think this movie really tackles it like the best. And this was the first movie that had Jason as the killer because the first one did not. So, I know that there's, Tom Savini and, Sean Cunningham didn't want to, do a sequel, but I'm so glad that they continued on this franchise, because if they did not do a sequel, if they listened to those two because they thought it was stupid to bring Jason back, then we wouldn't have got this excellent film right here and so many other great movies after. So Friday the 13th Part 2, like, to me, is a truly special film and one that I am super nostalgic for. And some people may watch this and just think it's another crappy slasher film from the 80s. And I watch it and I see one of the best horror movies ever made. Like, I legitimately think this is one of the best horror movies ever made. I love Friday the 13th Part 2. Look, before we go any further talking about the 4K, I forgot to tell you guys to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. We talk about all things physical media here on this channel. I've got more reviews coming on this channel. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts on Friday the 13th Part 2. Am I alone? I feel like there's a resurgence of this film. Like, Part 6 and Part 4, they get the most love, right? They get the most love, but I feel like Friday the 13th Part 2, like, it's creeping up there. Like, people are starting to appreciate this movie a little bit more. So let me know where this ranks for you in the franchise. Now, getting into the 4K, guys, this is a native 4K with Dolby Vision, HDR10. Now, I did pop in my Screen Factory Blu-ray again because I hadn't watched this, I think, probably since 2021, maybe 2020 when it came out. I don't know if I watched it recently. Now, I do have this Steelbook from Paramount that they released a couple of years ago. And I believe that's a 4K scan as well, but I couldn't find those details on the back of it, so I just wanted to be, sure that I got the 4K scan. So I did pop in this one because this one did have a 4K scan from the original camera negative. The first 4 movies in the Friday the 13th box set actually have 4K scans. So I could see them doing Part 3 on 4K. I could see them doing Part 4 on 4K because that work is already done. So I feel like we will get those. Whether or not we'll get 5 through 8s, I don't know. I hope we do. I would love to see Jason Takes Manhattan in 4K. God, you don't know how much I would love to see Jason. And also Jason Lives would look beautiful in 4K as well. But I am sure those first 4 will get 4Ks at some point. Now, look, I don't want to BS anybody out there. I don't want to make, like, if you are willing to pay $60-something for this box set just because you want Friday the 13th Part 2 on 4K, first off, this will be available individually at some point. Like, Paramount will put out a standard version of Friday the 13th Part 2 with the slipcover. I can almost guarantee it. And the slipcover will be better than the one that they issued in this box set, which I have right here. So don't worry about that. They will do a standard version, but I don't want to mislead anybody and make you think that this, I love the transfer. Look, I love the transfer. I'll go ahead and say that. I thought it was spectacular, but I popped in this Blu-ray and it's a really nice 4K scan on this Blu-ray. Like, this looks super clean and really nice. So I don't want to mislead anybody and think that this is some kind of like drastic jump over the Screen Factory Blu-ray. And if you already have this, this is a must own. But I will say, if you're super in to 4K and picture quality and the movie looking the best that it possibly can, you have got to own this at some point, because this to me looked magnificent, and it fixes a lot of the problems that the people have with Friday the 13th. And I think there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that in a second. But the big complaints on Friday the 13th was that it was too dark. This movie is not too dark. Like, all throughout this film, it's perfectly lit. And I think the reason for that is this movie had a bigger budget. Like, the budget of this movie was ×3 from the first one. The first one was $500,000. This was $1.5 million. So they had a better budget. Like, they didn't have the best lighting on the first one because they were lighting a bunch of scenes with candlelight. So I think that's the reason why the 4K was too dark for the first one. But I loved it. I loved the look of it. I thought it looked awesome. Very authentic and very creepy when you watch it as well, because it did look that way. Now, with Friday the 13th Part 2, it's better lit. It has a higher production value. And I think because of that, you don't have that problem where it's too dark. Like, this, to me, it's still all the great things about Friday the 13th on 4K. This has, like, the way that it looks similar to Friday the 13th on 4K, but you don't have that issue of it being too dark. But I thought this looked magnificent on 4K. There is such great detail and clarity. And to be completely honest, like I said, I don't want to mislead you guys, but there's not the detail and the clarity like on the actual like faces of the characters and the actors. There's not as much detail in the background. The HDR is definitely doing a lot to enhance some of those colors and just really make the movie feel like it has a weight to it. Like there's depth to the actual picture when you're watching it. Like you feel like you're in that forest, like you can reach out and grab some of those trees. There is such incredible depth here. There is such incredible, detail to some of those backgrounds and those characters and the outfits and the costumes that they're wearing. Look, guys, I know you want to hear about this. The girl with the short shorts in 4K. Come on, guys. Come on, like you can't beat that level of detail in 4K. This has it. Terry with the short shorts in 4K. It's incredible, guys. Look, she looked great in the Screen Factory Blu-ray, but she looks a lot better on 4K. We'll just say that. And another scene that I want to highlight is in the cabin in the woods. In the end, Jason's shrine to his mother. Like that whole room is so like beautifully lit. Just the way that it looks, it's perfect. It looks immaculate in 4K. Look, I watched this movie on VHS tape. Like you can see it on the back of the VHS tape right there. And when I was a kid, I thought that room looked amazing. Like it just had such a great look to it. It was perfectly decorated. It just looked so scary and creepy. It had great atmosphere. And in 4K, guys, you can see every single detail around that room and just the way that it's lit and the level of detail and how crisp and clear it looks while still having a good amount of grain in there as well, guys. Do not worry. This is not a completely smooth, polished 4K. Like there is a good amount of grain in this, but the way that room looked in 4K was just magnificent. It was just beautiful. Such great detail on Jason himself, like in the dark, like I said, when he gets up in that scene and walks towards that girl in the corner and he's wearing the bag head and he gets closer and closer, coming out of the shadows. So great. It's perfectly, the way his face is lit, contrasted with the darkness of the background, is so incredible. It looks amazing in 4K. And I'm just a big fan of camp slashers in general in 4K. I think by and large, they always look great. The Burning on 4K is one of my favorite 4Ks. That movie looks magnificent. A lot of this movie is in the daytime. There's a lot of night scenes as well, but there's a lot of daytime sequences in this, and you can really make out the colors of the trees and the grass and all that stuff, and just the camp atmosphere and setting. It all looks great in 4K. And another scene I will highlight, guys, because I have to, is the machete to the face wheelchair kill where he rolls down the stairs. That looked, first off, it's raining. Okay, it's raining in that sequence. It just starts storming in that sequence. So he's going out there in the rain. You see the water dripping off of his face, slash right into the face, goes down. That all looked amazing in 4K. So there's so many incredible set piece kills and moments that all look amazing in 4K. For me, this is the ultimate Friday the 13th Part 2 experience. This, I think Paramount did a great job. This reminded me of a Vinegar Syndrome transfer. I'm going to be honest, like Madman on 4K, like Vinegar Syndrome. If you haven't gotten into Vinegar Syndrome yet, like they do top tier work when it comes to 4K restorations. And this kind of was on par with those, in my opinion. I thought it looked magnificent. So I think Paramount did a fantastic job. This movie has never looked more gorgeous in 4K. But again, I don't want to mislead people. Like if you're happy with your Shout Factory Blu-ray, this looks great too. This looks great too, and I perfectly understand, but this does look better. So let's get into the actual unboxing here, guys. It's not going to be too much detail here, but you have the fronts, Friday the 13th, the poster, the original poster, and then on the back. I do like that image on the back with the blood kind of going out the window. I think that's pretty cool. And then you got, the synopsis and the casting list and all that good stuff. You open it up. There is a digital code in this set, but they're all kind of on the same card, and that kind of just came in the box set. But there is a digital code for this. And on the inside, you have the Blu-ray. And I imagine that Blu-ray, that Paramount Blu-ray, does have a 4K scan as well. So if you don't have this, you're getting both. You're getting the Blu-ray with the 4K scan, and you're getting the 4K as well. And then you have the 4K. So no reversible cover art or anything like that. Like I showed off earlier, you do have a slip cover that comes with this. This is from the Paramount Scares Volume 2 box set. really cool image of Jenny right there with the axe, and you got Jason down there. I think that's a really cool image of Jason. And then on the back, you got Crazy Ralph's You're All Doomed. You're all doomed. And I didn't bring up the audio yet, but with this one, guys, you do have the English 5.1 Dolby True HD. So it's the same audio that was present in all of the, most recent Blu-ray releases. So no real audio upgrade here, but I love the sound of this movie. It sounded excellent. The score is fantastic. Harry Manfredini returns to do the score for this movie. And all of his scores for all the Friday the 13th movies are just fantastic, and this one is no exception. So sound-wise, it sounded excellent. Now, getting into the special features here, guys, I'm sure there's going to be people wondering if there was any new special features or anything like that. This 4K, for the most part, has the same stuff on it that was present on the Scream Factory, Shout Factory Blu-ray. You have Inside Crystal Lake Memories, the book, Friday's Legacy Horror Conventions. You have, there's one that's not on here, Lost Tales from Camp Blood, Part 2. You have Jason Forever, which is like a sit down with 4 different people that played Jason. It's about a half hour long. So Jason Forever is actually on the bonus disc, so it's not actually on this one. I did some investigating, guys. It's on the bonus disc, but it's not on the actual disc itself. So that's one good thing about this release. All the features are on the same actual release instead of you having to just pop in another bonus disc. But there is one that is missing on here that I could not find that is present on this one, and that is the podcast interview with Amy Steele, who plays Jenny in the film. So that I could not find on this release. So that is one special feature that the Scream Factory Blu-ray has over this 4K right here, guys. So look, at the end of the day, like I said, you have to pay $63 for this box set. If this movie is the only movie that you're interested in this box set, then I can't recommend you buy a $63 box set for one movie on 4K. As great as this 4K is, I can't recommend that at this time. But what I can recommend is as soon as this gets a standalone 4K version, you purchase it right away. If you're a Friday the 13th fan, if you're a fan of good 4K restorations, you want to purchase this right away. And look, if you're on the fence, about this box set and you're interested in these movies in this box set, I still think it's a spectacular box set. It's got a Fangoria magazine in it. Go check out my unboxing, guys. It's a great set for $63. There's 4 4Ks in here. Hell of a deal. But to just get that for Friday the 13th Part 2, I can't say that it's worth it just for that. But when it comes out standalone, definitely get Friday the 13th Part 2 on 4K. And if you're in the UK, you already got the standalone option. So go out and get this movie on 4K. It's a fantastic release, fantastic transfer. I loved it. So thank you all so much for watching this review of Friday the 13th Part 2. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That's important too, guys. Comment down below your thoughts on Friday the 13th Part 2 in the comment section below. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.